This is Hector and Sunny. Take a Magical Bus Ride by Elena Thompson. It was a warm morning, and a beautiful golden retriever by the name of Hector was on a walk with his owner. They strolled along the streets together, and Hector made sure he barked out a cheery hello to everyone they met. Hector's owner stopped in front of a bus stop and gave it a puzzled look. He said to Hector, I've never noticed this bus stop before, have you? It must be new. Hector barked to reply and said he'd never seen it before either. His owner didn't speak dog, but seemed to understand Hector's reply. Hector moved nearer to the bus stop and sniffed it. It didn't smell of anything, and that was unusual because in Hector's expert opinion, everything had a smell. Hector looked closely at the new bus stop. He noticed tiny silver sparkles on it which twinkled in the sunlight. The silver reminded him of a certain squirrel called Sydney, who had magical powers and had taken Hector and his friend on exciting adventures. Was the bus stop magical? And if so, how did it work? Hector wished his best friend Sunny was there to answer his questions. He hadn't seen her for a whole day and was missing her a lot. At that moment, something familiar happened. The world around Hector came to a standstill, and his owner froze in time. Something magical was about to happen. Hector heard the sound of a bus approaching. He looked along the road and saw a bus driving towards him. It was silver, and a dog was driving it. The bus came to a stop right next to Hector. With a whoosh, the doors opened, and the driver, a Jack Russell wearing a blue cap, gave Hector a big grin and said, "Hello there. My name is Rascal. Would you like to take a ride on the Magical Bus Express? If so, climb on board and my brother Gizmo will show you to your seat." Hector said, "Oh, I'd love to get on your bus. But can we pick up my friend Sunny, please? She's my best friend in the whole world, and I don't want to have an adventure without her." Still smiling, Rascal replied, "Of course. Our next stop will be at Sunny's house. My good friend Sydney the squirrel told me about your previous adventures together, and he thought it was time you had another one. Climb on board." Hector took another look at his owner. He was still frozen in time and would stay like that until Hector returned. Hector jumped onto the bus and padded down the aisle. Another Jack Russell, wearing a blue cap, was waiting for him and said his name was Gizmo. He showed Hector to a window seat and said they would be picking up Sunny next, and also that other dogs would join them further along. Hector said, "Where are we going on our journey?" Gizmo grinned. "Anywhere you want to, and it depends where the other passengers want to go too. You might be able to help them with that." Hector settled down further in the seat and looked out of the window. Another adventure. How exciting. And he would get to see Sunny again too. The bus set off and trundled down the road. It turned a few corners and came to a stop outside Sunny's house. There was a new silver bus stop outside her house, just like the one Hector had seen. Sunny's owner was frozen in time in front of the bus stop, a puzzled look on her face. And Sunny was standing at the bus stop. Her beautiful blue eyes glowed with happiness when she saw Hector on the silver bus. Like a flash, she leapt through the open doors of the bus and bounded over to her best friend. "Hector." "Hi," Sunny beamed at her friend. "We're going on another adventure. Do you know where we're going?" Hector told Sunny what Gizmo had said. Sunny nodded and said it all sounded very exciting. Hector and Sunny heard a noise at the front of the bus. and saw two dogs climbing on. They looked over at Sunny and waved to her. Hector had never seen the dogs before and asked Sunny who they were. "It's Robbie and Lola," Sunny replied. "They moved onto my street yesterday afternoon. I had a lovely chat with them and told them about our magical adventures. They liked hearing about how we met Sydney and followed him into dreamland. They said they would love to go there one day." Robbie and Lola said hello to Hector and Sunny and sat in the seats behind them. Robbie leaned forward and said eagerly, "Do you think this bus is going to dreamland?" "I really hope it is." A thoughtful look fell over Hector's face. Sunny smiled at him. She knew he was about to come up with a wonderful idea. She was right. Hector beckoned Gizmo over and asked if the bus driver could take them to dreamland. Gizmo said, "Of course, and my brother knows where to find Sydney, the silver-furred squirrel who would lead them into the magical place." The silver bus set off, and the passengers gazed happily out of the windows. A few minutes later, the bus came to another silver-colored bus stop. This time, a dog and a cat got on. They walked down the aisle and said hello to everyone. The dog said, "My name is Peanut Butter, and this is my best friend Jelly. We saw that new bus stop appearing a few minutes ago and had a feeling we should stand there, and then this bus came along. Does anyone know where it's going?" Hector told Peanut Butter, and Jelly he was going to Dreamland. He then told them that it was a place where dreams came true, and they could go to it too. "How wonderful," Peanut Butter said with a big smile on his furry face. He looked out of the window. "Oh, our friends are running towards the bus. Can we wait for them? Can they come to Dreamland with us?" Rascal had already spotted another cat and dog running towards the vehicle. He opened the doors and gave them a welcoming smile. The new passengers climbed on board. The dog was called Bella, and the cat was called Sunday. When they heard where the bus was going, they broke into huge smiles and said they couldn't wait to visit Dreamland. The dogs and cats settled down in their seats, and the bus set off. It soon arrived at the park where Sydney, the silver-furred squirrel, lived. Hector and Sunny weren't at all surprised to see the squirrel waiting for the bus. Sunny said to Hector, "It's almost like he knew we were coming here." Everyone got off the bus, including Rascal and Gizmo, who said they were going to buy some gravy-flavored ice creams. Sydney said hello to everyone and that he knew why they were there. "If you'd like to follow me, I will take you into Dreamland. You can return at any time, and the silver bus will collect you and take you home." He looked at Hector and Sunny. "Are you coming with us?" Hector and Sunny shared a look. They were thinking the same thing. Hector said, "Not this time, thank you. We want to go back on the bus and see where it goes next." Sunny was about to agree with Hector, but she noticed a little corgi looking at them. His name was Mika, and he was a good friend of theirs. Hector and Sunny often played running games with Mika, and even though he had little legs, the corgi always ran as fast as he possibly could. Mika had told them that he often dreamed about winning a running race, but alas, he didn't think his dream would ever come true. Sunny waved at Mika and asked him to come closer. He jogged over on his little legs and said hello. Sunny explained about Dreamland and how the dogs and cats in front of her were about to enter it. She said, "You can go there too, and your dream of winning a running race will finally come true." Mika's little mouth fell open in delighted surprise. Sunny gave him a gentle nudge, and the corgi moved towards the others. Sydney waved goodbye to Hector and Sunny and took the animals through a magical tree and into dreamland. Hector and Sunny knew their friends would have a wonderful time there. Hector and Sunny climbed back onto the bus. Rascal and Gizmo returned with ice creams for all of them. The dogs chatted whilst they ate their delicious treats. Rascal got back into the driver's seat, and off they went down the road. At the next silver bus stop, a Labrador wearing sunglasses and a denim jacket got on. He sauntered casually down the aisle and sat in the middle of the back seat. Hector and Sunny silently stared at the cool-looking dog, impressed by his jacket and sunglasses. Hector whispered to Sunny, "Who is that cool dude?" "I've never seen him before." Sunny whispered back, "He's called Maverick. I've seen him at the park, but I've always been too shy to talk to him." Hector looked over his shoulder at Maverick and smiled. Maverick took off his sunglasses and gave Hector a friendly wink. Because Hector had to say hello to everyone he met, he just couldn't help himself. He walked over to Maverick and sat next to him. He introduced himself and asked Maverick where he was going. Sunny joined the two dogs and smiled bashfully at Maverick. The Labrador told them he was a lover of art, and when he saw the silver bus, he got on, hoping it would go in the direction of an art gallery. He asked Hector if he knew where the bus was going. "It can go anywhere you want it to," Hector replied. He waved to Gizmo and asked if they could go to an art gallery. "Of course," Gizmo replied. "There's one further along this road. We'll make a stop there." The bus soon came to a stop outside an art gallery. Hector, Sunny, and Maverick got off. The driver and conductor said they would have a nap whilst they waited for the dogs to return. Hector and Sunny walked with their new friend into the art gallery. It was one that was dedicated to dogs. Once through the door, they saw some marble statues. One was of a dog holding the world on his back, and another was of a dog sitting down with a look of deep thinking etched onto his marble face. Sunny said to Hector, "That's what you look like when you're having deep thoughts." Hector copied the pose and made them both chuckle. The three dogs looked at the oil paintings on the walls. There was a picture of King Charles Spaniel I, King Charles Spaniel II, and King Charles Spaniel III. They all looked very regal, and Sunny couldn't help herself from curtsying in front of them. She'd seen someone on the television doing that in front of the Queen and felt like it was the appropriate thing to do. Hector tried to curtsy too, but he fell over. The dogs looked at a painting of a dog with long hair who was smiling gently. Her smile was so lovely and kind that it made the dogs smile back at her. The next painting they saw was made of tiny golden squares and showed a couple of dogs holding hands and gazing at each other in a soppy way, like they were about to kiss. Hector and Sunny giggled like puppies at the painting. Maverick shook his head good-naturedly at them. They continued to look at other paintings and statues, and then Hector and Sunny decided they had seen enough. They asked Maverick if he wanted to go back to the bus with them. "No, thank you," he replied. "I want to stay here a bit longer and absorb the artistic air of this splendid building and its resplendent displays." Hector and Sunny had no idea what he was talking about, but they nodded wisely as if they understood. They said goodbye and went back to the bus. Gizmo and Rascal woke up from their nap and welcomed Hector and Sunny back. The silver bus set off down the road once more. The next passengers they picked up were two dogs called Dakota and Nymeria. They were wearing rainbow-colored t-shirts and carrying instruments, which they told the other dogs were called sitars. They sat behind Hector and Sunny and asked if they'd heard of a fairy called Bliss. Hector and Sunny hadn't and asked who she was. A faraway smile lighted on Dakota's face. She's a fairy who travels the world teaching everyone about the importance of peace, love, and music. We've created some soothing songs and want to play them to her. I hope we can find her somewhere. Sunny came up with an idea and said, "From what I've heard, fairies usually live in forests. I'll ask Gizmo if we can go to the nearest one, and you can ask the animals who live in the forest about Bliss. What do you say? Is that a good idea?" Dakota and Nymeria thought it was an excellent idea. Sunny talked to Gizmo. He said she was in luck because they were about to drive past a place called Sleepy Forest, and he knew that many magical beings lived there. Sleepy Forest appeared on the horizon, and the silver bus pulled up next to it. Nymeria and Dakota asked Hector and Sunny if they wanted to go with them, and even though the thought of meeting a fairy called Bliss was tempting, they said no thank you and wished the other dogs a successful journey. Hector gazed at Sleepy Forest and told Sunny they should explore it one day. Sunny agreed. The bus continued along the road. Two more dog passengers soon boarded the bus. They were wearing superhero capes made out of tea towels. Their names were Thor and Parker, but their superhero names were Thor, the Thunder Dog, and Parker, the Spider Dog. The new passengers got talking to Hector and Sunny and asked if they knew of any dogs who needed rescuing. Thor, the Thunder Dog, explained, "We need to practice our superhero skills, and the best way to do that is by rescuing other dogs." Hector noticed an adventure park coming up ahead and asked Gizmo if they could stop there for a while. The bus came to a stop at the adventure park, and Hector asked the superheroes and Sunny to join him outside. They got off the bus. Hector said, "Sunny and I can pretend we need rescuing, and then you can practice your skills." The superheroes thought that was a fabulous idea. They closed their eyes and told Hector and Sunny to get into position. Sunny climbed onto a rope bridge and pretended to be scared of heights. She wasn't at all scared, but did an excellent job of pretending she was. Hector wriggled into a tire and pretended he was stuck. It took him all of 2 seconds to realize that he really was stuck. He called out to Thunderdog and Spider Dog and asked for help. The superheroes raced over to him and pushed and pulled. Then they pulled and pushed, but Hector remained stuck. From up on her rope bridge, Sunny smiled and shook her head at the rescue attempts. She leapt easily off the bridge and ran over to Hector. She knew her friend very well, and she knew how ticklish he was. She tickled Hector behind his ears. Hector giggled and wiggled his way right out of the tire. Once he was free, he thanked Sunny for rescuing him. Thunderdog and Spider Dog said they had probably loosened Hector first. Sunny smiled gently at them and said they probably had. Hector and Sunny decided to return to the silver bus. The superhero dogs said they would play at the adventure park a bit longer and see if anyone else needed rescuing. The silver bus set off down the road again. Each time new passengers got on, Hector and Sunny would help them find the perfect place to visit. First of all, they helped a mother and daughter called Bella and Gigi and their friend Penny go on an adventure to the city. They had never left the countryside before and were eager to see what the city had to offer. Hector and Sunny took them to a movie theater, a restaurant, and then a shopping center. The 3 country dogs decided to stay at the shopping center and buy some new clothes. The next 2 dogs to board the bus were called Oreo and Howie. They were looking for a birthday present for one of their friends. Gizmo knew the perfect place to go and told his brother to head towards a toy shop that was just for dogs. It didn't take them long to get there. The toy shop was in the shape of a huge kennel, and inside it were the most amazing toys and treats that any of the dogs had ever seen. There were squeaky toys in the shape of pizzas, dinosaurs, and spaceships. There was even one that looked like a stick. Hector and Sunny loved that one. They saw lots of chew toys and balls in all shapes and sizes. The dogs were utterly amazed to see a ball that returned itself to whoever had thrown it. Hector kept throwing the ball into the distance, and a few moments later, the ball would roll back to him. Hector had to sit down because it was too amazing for him to take in. Oreo and Howie said they would stay at the toy shop for a while longer because there were so many toys to choose from and they didn't want to rush. Hector and Sunny went back to the bus. The last passengers of the day were 2 dogs called Winnie and Greta. They were wearing their best dresses and finest hats. Winnie said hello to Hector and Sunny and asked if they knew any fancy hotels where they could have an afternoon tea. She had heard her owner talk about having an afternoon tea many times and thought it sounded like a delightful experience. Neither Hector nor Sunny knew what afternoon tea was, so Winnie explained that it was a delicious treat of sandwiches and cakes, all washed down by cups of refreshing tea. The thought of food made Hector and Sunny's tummies rumble, and they asked if they could join Winnie and Greta. Greta said, "Of course, but we still need to find a fancy hotel. Leave that to me," Sunny said. She talked to Gizmo, and he knew of the perfect place. Not only did it have a wonderful dining room, but the hotel also had a golf course. Gizmo said, "My brother and I love playing golf and keep our golf clubs in the bus just in case we need them. We can play a round or 2 of golf whilst you have your fancy afternoon tea." The silver bus drove towards a grand-looking hotel and pulled into the car park. Gizmo and Rascal collected their golf clubs and went off to play golf. Hector, Sunny, Winnie, and Greta headed into the hotel and towards the dining room. They were greeted by a friendly-looking dog dressed in a suit. He said his name was Frank, and he would be their waiter. Frank led them to a table that was covered in a delicate lace tablecloth. The dog sat down and gave their order to Frank. Frank hurried away and returned less than a minute later with plates overflowing with soft sandwiches, scrumptious scones, and cream-filled cakes. There was a huge pot of tea and a jug of cold water. Hector and Sunny tried the hot tea, but didn't think much of it and had water instead. The afternoon tea was utterly delicious. Hector and Sunny ate their portions and licked their plates clean. Winnie and Greta couldn't eat all of theirs and asked Frank for doggy bags to take the rest of their food home. With full tummies, the 4 dogs returned to the silver bus. Gizmo and Rascal had finished their game of golf and were putting their clubs away. Everyone climbed onto the bus. Having a full tummy made Hector sleepy, and as soon as he sat down in his comfy seat, he closed his eyes and fell asleep. Sunny leaned against her friend and fell asleep too. Sometime later, Sunny and Hector were gently woken up by Gizmo. He told them they were nearly home. Hector asked if they had picked up the other dogs on the way back. Gizmo said, "We did." Everyone's had an amazing day. I know they'll sleep well tonight. He looked through the window. "Sunny, this is your stop. It's been wonderful having you on board. I hope we'll see you again soon." Sunny said goodbye to Hector and got off the bus. She stood next to her owner, who was still frozen in time. The silver bus pulled away. Hector waved at his best friend. Hector was the last passenger on the bus. When it was his time to get off, he said thank you to Rascal and Gizmo for such a lovely adventure. Hector jumped off the bus and waved goodbye to the bus driver and conductor. The silver bus drove on down the road. Then, in a cloud of silver sparkles, the bus disappeared. The silver bus stop vanished too. Hector's owner became unfrozen. He blinked in surprise and said, "Hector, I thought I saw a new bus stop here, but now it's gone." "What do you make of that? Did I imagine it?" Hector barked and told his owner he hadn't imagined it at all. His owner gave Hector a long look and said, "Sometimes, Hector, there's a knowing look in your eyes, and I think you're trying to tell me something. Come on, pal, let's go to the park. Perhaps we can call on Sunny on the way and see if she wants to come with us." Hector smiled. Seeing Sunny twice in one day would make his magical day even more magical. What kind of dream are you drifting towards tonight? You can dream however you want because your imagination is as wide as the universe. What will you find in tonight's dream? Maybe you'll see your favorite characters. Is that Hector and Sunny over there? Maybe you'll visit the moon, where there are mice eating cheese in the craters. Maybe you'll walk through Sleepy Forest, where Coco the koala is strumming his pink ukulele on the banks of Sleepy River. Let your imagination take you away. Your dreams are all yours, and you deserve the sweetest dreams of all because you are brave, you are kind, and you are loved. You are brave, you are kind, and you are loved, and you are wonderfully, uniquely you. You are a dream, and it's time to sleep, tucked up in your bed. Breathe slowly and melt into your bed. Isn't it warm and soft and cozy? It's time to rest. Take deep breaths in and out and let yourself relax. As you say goodbye to the day, let your body get even heavier. Let your whole body go floppy. Drift deeper into sleep with every breath and say goodnight. Remember, tomorrow will be a good day because you have a big heart. You are a good friend. You believe in yourself. You know there's nothing better to be than yourself. It's okay to get things wrong. It's okay to ask for help. You can do whatever you set your mind to. Be proud to be different. Be proud of your achievements. Be proud of yourself. You are a good learner. You are a good listener. You are a good example to others. You are valued. You are loved. You are sleepy. So drift off now, little one. Let the dreams take over as you sleep. Let your dreams take you to magical lands and faraway places. Remember, there's no room for worries in your dreams, just magic. It's a magic place where anything can happen, anything you want. It's a place of positivity and light. Let positivity soak into you and fill you up. Imagine it as a golden light traveling from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Imagine that wherever the light touches, you fill with happiness. Imagine that the light makes you feel calm. You're wrapped in a warm, cozy glow within your soft, toasty blanket. Isn't that nice? You are safe, tucked up tight, so sleep soundly all through the night. Sweet dreams, little one. I'll see you soon.